Hey guys, so y'all saw the title of this video. You know what this is. This is just me sharing some brief thoughts and memories about Eddie Van Halen. I saw the news that he passed about an hour ago at the time of this recording. Um, I don't know when the news broke. I didn't read too much of the articles and stuff out there. Um, but I spend a lot less time on social media these days because I'm trying to be more diligent in working on projects, and so I'm responding to comments on the channel, but I'm trying to spend like less time just like scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram, whatever. Don't always succeed with that, but I did a quick Facebook check, and saw the news about Eddie Van Halen, and just I wasn't planning on doing a video today. I was planning on just working on my screenplay, doing some writing. Um, but this was like too big to not say something about. I think because Van Halen is such a part of my musical DNA that even if what I'm saying isn't necessarily the most profound and deep thing out there, even if I'm just coming at this as the perspective of a fan, because, there are so many, people in the industry who knew Eddie personally, who had relationships with him. I'm just coming at this from a fan perspective as someone who inspired a lot of the music that I did. Um, so I'm just gonna, this is just off the cuff, how I'm feeling unscripted. And just it's it's hard to imagine a world without Eddie Van Halen. That was just as soon as I started getting into rock music, Van Halen was one of the first bands I learned about, gravitated towards, and just my youth. When I first started playing in bands, we were playing Kiss covers, we were playing AC/DC covers, and we were playing Van Halen covers. Like we were covering those three bands in my basement and mixing in originals, and then we do like, some Sabbaths and some Deep Purple. But in terms of like bands that were just the biggest core of my musical DNA in my earliest days, Kiss was my favorite of those three bands, Kiss, AC/DC, and Van Halen. But of those three that like we jammed on all the time, like the bands that we all agreed on were just like the shit. Van Halen was my second favorite. And I gravitated towards their music a lot, and loved all the different eras. And it just feels very much like a part of me, where I would cover "Ain't Talking About Love" in clubs all the time. So like that just song, just like it's a part of my being. It's like it's part of who I am, and it's just part of like the core foundation of what I am musically. Where even if like Van Halen, isn't in my current top 10 of like favorite bands that I listen to, um, I did that video on my favorite bands and they made the honorable mention list. Even if they're not like in my current day top 10, in terms of bands that were like most important to my musical upbringing, they're absolutely in that top 10 in terms of like, the artists that molded me into who I am. Like Van Halen is absolutely one of those. I think, Eddie Van Halen is arguably the most, influential guitarist to ever live. Some could argue, you know, Les Paul, Chuck Berry, obviously, B.B. King, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton. But I think what Eddie brought to the guitar, um, and the way he did it was so revolutionary that just it feels like there's a distinct, pre Eddie Van Halen guitar player and a post Eddie Van Halen guitar player. And I think he just really he changed the game. He absolutely changed the game. He is one of the all-time greats. You can argue that there might be a player more technical than him, um, but what he brought to the instrument in terms of like his technical chops, but his also charisma and style. Um, he really was one of a kind, and it's just really, really shocking. Um, what I can say is that I love the music, and I know a lot of you out there are affected, um, by this too, because it's the soundtrack of your youth. You grew up, jamming to those Van Halen songs on the radio, you know, popping the cassette in your car, playing the record, what have you. And so I know that a lot of people just are feeling this on many different levels. So for me, it's it is the soundtrack of my youth. I'm obviously younger than the average Van Halen fan, but it is the soundtrack of my youth. But also the soundtrack of, like, an artist discovering what he values about art, and valuing what Van Halen brought musically, where they had technical chops, but it was always in the service of the song, and it wasn't just a vehicle for guitar solos. There were strong pop hooks, and Eddie wasn't overplaying on top of the vocals. They weren't clashing. They were working together. And so to me, that's the mark of a great musician, where he viewed the importance of the finished package and and songwriting, as being the most important thing. And there was still room to have the mind-blowing guitar. Like, you can do both. Because so many people, they lean, so hard in one direction or the other. He showed that you can be a flashy guitar player and still have a pop single you can sell to radio. And to me, that's just one of the things I admire most about that kind of music, about that 70s, 80s hard rock, is that ability to write these big pop hooks, but still have your rock street cred and your ability to shred and show off, but make it composed and not just make it random. The deliberateness, the craft, I had so much admire his craft as a musician. And yeah, it's um, it's a bummer. 2020 sucks. It's we keep saying about how terrible 2020 is, and then just it keeps happening. So, my thoughts and prayers are with the family. Um Family, friends, just those who knew him personally. Those are who my thoughts are with the most. But obviously, for all the fans out there, I know we're all feeling it too. So, I wanted to make this very sincere. It would have been very easy to just react to a Van Halen song, and but that would feel cheap. Um, and I didn't want to do something that felt cheap, so that's why I'm doing this instead. Just honestly communicating with you my thoughts. Because like I said, this is one of the most influential bands in my early days. It feels like a part of me is gone. Um, yeah. So, I'm wishing you all the best. I hope everyone's doing well. Um, if you want to share some of your memories and thoughts about Van Halen, share in the comments below. What this band meant to you, because I know this band means a lot to a lot of people. So, share your stories with me. I'm gonna be excited to read them. And I'm wishing everyone health and happiness. And God bless.